In the previous chapter, you learned some ways to collect and filter scene nodes. We used functions like select, hide and unhide to affect the collected objects. We were reading object properties like radius and position to make decisions whether to collect a specific object or not. In this chapter, we will discuss possible ways to change the values of object properties in multiple objects at once. Let's first create 200 spheres, each one with a random position and a random radius. For I is equal to 1 to 200 do, this will repeat 200 times, create a sphere with a position randomly taken between the coordinates -300, -300, -300 and 300, 300, 300, and a radius with a random value between 2 and 40. Now let's use the knowledge from the previous chapter in order to quickly change the radius of every single sphere to the same value. For O in sphere star, meaning go throughout your objects whose name starts with sphere, and do change the radius of every single object to 10 units. As you can see, this did exactly what we expected, but surprisingly enough, it is not the fastest way to do it. We could express the whole thing shorter by using the following code. Sphere star radius is equal to, let's say, 20. As you can see, the function is performing the same operation, but the code is much shorter. This demonstrates a very powerful feature of MaxScript known as mapped functions. Mapped functions can operate on a collection of objects and perform the same operation onto all objects in the collection individually without an explicit for loop written in MaxScript. We have already used mapped functions before. The select function, for example, is a mapped function because it can operate on any number of objects at once. Looking at the MaxScript reference under select shows that the function itself is denoted in the documentation as being mapped. Value assignments in MaxScript, like this, are also mapped functions, which explains why assigning 20 or 10 to the radius of an object set results in the radius of each object in the collection to be set to the respective value. We could do the same with the current selection. Let's select a couple of spheres and execute the following code. $.radius is equal to 30. The $sign has a couple of special functions in MaxScript. As we saw previously, it is used to denote the object path as a prefix. It can stand in for the current selection when multiple objects are selected, but also stand in for a single selected object when a single object is selected. Let's take a look at the return value of a single selected object. The $sign represents the sphere. If we select a couple of objects and ask the same question, the $sign mutates and represents the current selection. It is important to note that the $sign was designed as a shortcut. Using it in complex scripts can be dangerous as it requires